I don't understand why we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on. Think about it. You didn't sign a contract when you took your first breath. You didn't agree to rent space on Earth. So why does every part of survival, food, water, land, come with a price tag? And here's the real question. Who are we even paying? Who decided they owned the land, the water, the resources? Who stood up one day and said, "This all belongs to me and you owe me for existing"? Now look at water. Covers most of the planet. Falls from the sky, essential for life. Yet somehow people are dying of thirst. Instead of wasting billions on war, we could build desalination plants and give fresh water to everyone. The technology exists, but do we use it? No. Because if people could take care of themselves, they wouldn't be controlled. That's the truth. Scarcity is a lie. There's enough food, enough land, enough resources for everyone. But if people weren't desperate, governments, corporations, and banks would lose power. So they manufacture struggle. They make sure you're always working, always paying, always needing. You're not just paying to live, you're paying to stay in your cage.
Christmas is not about joy at all, but about control. Every December, the same symbols appear everywhere. Red and green, trees inside homes, gifts exchanged on a fixed date, a figure who watches you, tracks your behavior, and decides who deserves rewards. Naughty or nice. Sound familiar? Long before malls and movies, winter festivals marked the darkest days of the year. Cultures believed this was when the veil thinned, when something could cross over. Saturnalia in Rome flipped social order. Yule honored death and rebirth. Then suddenly those rituals were absorbed, renamed, sanitized. The date December 25th was never in the Bible. It was chosen. The tree came from pagan worship. The lights symbolized returning suns. And Santa, a rebranded observer figure, conditions children early to accept surveillance as comfort. Even today, spending spikes, stress rises, debt piles up, and everyone is told this is happiness. Miss the ritual, and you are the problem. Question it, and you are the Grinch. So is Christmas really a celebration of light and darkness, or a perfectly engineered tradition designed to train obedience, consumption, and belief without question? The children's holiday tradition hides a story no one wants fully examined. Every December, millions see him as harmless folklore. A smiling helper in bright colors, soot on his face, gifts in his hands. But Black Peter did not start as a cartoon. Early records describe a darker figure, not just playful, but punitive. Not a helper, but an enforcer. In old European folklore tied to Zwarte Piet, this figure carried chains, threatened disobedient children, and acted as the shadow to St. Nicholas's light. So why was that part slowly erased? Some researchers argue Black Peter reflects something older than a holiday mascot, a pre-Christian archetype, a symbolic underworld gatekeeper. Others point to colonial rewrites, where uncomfortable origins were sanitized for mass consumption. Over time, menace became mischief, chains became candy, fear became nostalgia. But symbols do not disappear, they evolve. Ask yourself why this character still sparks global outrage, why governments defend or ban him, why his image refuses to settle quietly into history. If Black Peter was only a silly helper, why does his shadow still make people so uneasy? There was no siren, no headline that said this is the end, no day where everyone agreed something had snapped, and that is what makes it so unsettling. The feeling that the world did not collapse in flames or chaos, but slipped sideways when no one was paying attention. One day you woke up and everything still worked, but none of it felt real anymore. People struggle to explain it, so they say they are tired, burnt out, nostalgic, depressed. But that is not it. This is different. It feels like living in the after image of something that already passed. Like the credits rolled and no one stood up, because they were told the movie was still going. The routines remain, jobs, apps, conversations, news cycles, but the weight behind them is gone. Events no longer land the way they used to. Tragedies blur together. Victories feel hollow. Time moves faster, but nothing progresses. It feels like the world reached a conclusion quietly, and now everyone is improvising, pretending the story is still unfolding. Think about how memory works now. Entire years collapse into a blur. Ask people what happened 3 summers ago and they struggle. Not because nothing happened, but because nothing anchored. Moments no longer imprint. Experiences slide off instead of sinking in. That is not normal. That is a sign of disconnection. Something shifted when life became mediated instead of lived. When experience started arriving through screens instead of senses. When the world stopped being encountered directly and started being filtered, cropped, optimized, summarized. Reality became content, and content is disposable by design. When everything is documented, nothing is remembered. When everything is urgent, nothing is meaningful. When everything is available instantly, nothing is valued. The world did not end with a bang. It thinned out. Depth was replaced with access. Presence was replaced with updates. Meaning was replaced with metrics. People sense this loss, but they cannot name it. So they scroll, they distract, they chase stimulation. They look for something that feels solid. But the harder they look, the more unreal everything becomes. Because the system is not built to provide grounding. It is built to provide motion. This is why it feels like nothing ever resolves anymore. Stories do not end. Crises do not conclude. Everything just bleeds into the next thing. A permanent state of unfinished business. That is not accidental. Resolution gives closure. Closure gives people time to reflect. Reflection leads to questions. And questions slow the machine. So instead, the world stays suspended. Always almost over. Always almost fixed. Always almost collapsing. Always almost recovering. People are kept in a psychological waiting room, convinced the real moment is just around the corner. But what if the real moment already happened? What if the world people remember ended quietly when attention became fragmented beyond repair? When communities dissolved into audiences? When identity became a profile? When truth became optional? When reality stopped being shared and started being personalized? Look at how people interact now. Conversations feel thinner. Eye contact shorter. Reactions rehearsed. Everyone is present and absent at the same time. Bodies in one place. Minds somewhere else. It feels like living among echoes rather than people. Even emotions feel delayed. People react to events days later after seeing how they are supposed to feel about them. Outrage on schedule. Grief in waves. Celebration curated. Nothing is raw anymore. Everything is processed through consensus before it is expressed. That is not how humans evolved to experience life. We are built for direct cause and effect, for shared reality, for collective memory. When those dissolve, the world does not explode. It drifts. This is why nostalgia is so intense now. People are not missing the past itself. They are missing the feeling of being inside time instead of watching it. They are missing when days felt heavy and moments stuck, when reality pushed back, when life felt textured. The quiet ending happened when friction disappeared, when effort was removed from too many things at once, when survival no longer demanded presence, when boredom became unbearable, when silence became filled automatically. The moment humans stopped being alone with their thoughts long enough to notice something was wrong. A world that never stops talking, never allows you to hear the signal beneath the noise. And the signal is this: something fundamental has shifted. Not politically, not economically, existentially. People no longer feel like participants. They feel like observers trapped inside systems they do not control and do not believe in. Working jobs that feel abstract, chasing goals that feel empty, consuming narratives that contradict their lived experience, and smiling through it because everyone else seems to be doing the same. This creates a low-level grief that has nowhere to go. There was no funeral, no acknowledgement, no moment of collective recognition, just a quiet sense that something meaningful was lost and replaced with something efficient. That is why the world feels fake, because it is running on substitutes. Substitute connection, substitute purpose, substitute achievement, substitute identity. And substitutes can keep things moving, but they cannot replace the real thing. The scariest part is that many people have adapted to this so well they do not want it questioned. Because questioning it means admitting loss. And admitting loss means grieving something that was never officially declared gone. So instead, society gaslights itself, tells people nothing is wrong, that this is progress, that discomfort is personal failure, that emptiness is chemical, that exhaustion is normal, that confusion is weakness. But deep down, many people feel it. The sense that the world they were promised never arrived. Or maybe it did, briefly, and slipped away when no one was looking. The world did not end loudly. It ended quietly. It ended when attention became the most valuable resource and everything else was sacrificed to capture it. It ended when speed replaced depth, when updates replaced understanding, when connection replaced community. And the question is not whether this is reversible. The question is whether people are even allowed to notice it. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And once you feel it, distractions stop working the way they used to. You start craving something slower, heavier, more real. You start wanting to step out of the noise and remember what being present felt like. That desire is not nostalgia, it is instinct. It is the part of you that knows something ended and refuses to accept the replacement as enough. The world may still be running, but that does not mean it is alive in the way it once was. And if this feels uncomfortably familiar, if it feels like someone finally put words to a feeling you could never explain, then maybe you are not imagining it. Maybe you are remembering.
You be the judge. If you're awake, you already feel what's right. Support the movement. Show where you stand. Your presence matters. Your choice carries meaning.